What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are all doing well. It's been a while since I posted, and a lot of that has to do with my career, and also a lot of that has to do with NHL playoffs. Just been watching NHL playoffs in the evening time, drinking on the back porch, smoking cigars with my friends, and both of my teams are out, Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. So can't complain. We've had 3 of the last 6 or 7 Stanley Cups, I think, between both of my favorite teams. So again, can't complain. Florida won the national championship in basketball, so it's going to be somebody else's year. Looks like, in my opinion, I already told my friends, whoever comes out of the Central Division, I think has the best chance of winning it, which would be Winnipeg or Dallas. Of course, you got the defending champs, Florida. Toronto's always good, but they always seem to choke in the playoffs, so if they can get over that hump, Toronto and Carolina, I think, both have a good shot. Washington as well. They have a good core of players that's a little bit older, but they've won the Cup before, so it's the best thing about the NHL playoffs, man. There's nothing like it, and there are a lot of teams left that definitely have a legit chance to win it. So, as always, I'm going to leave the name of the fragrance, the day that I wore them, and the date in the description so you guys can follow along. Now, Monday, we've got Akdeniz from Unique Luxury. I mean, extremely strong marine fragrance, but it's got some green and leather notes in there too. It's tropical, not quite as tropical as like Mangonificent or Ocean the Rive. But for me, Akdeniz has always been one of my favorites from the house. Extreme longevity, very versatile, tons of situations you can wear it in just depending on how much you want to spray of it, because it is a very strong fragrance. So if you're going to be in a tight corridor with people, office, maybe a smaller boardroom meeting or something, spray less. If you want it to last all day and you're going to be outside, you can pretty much put as much of this on as you want, but it does last forever. So on Tuesday, one of my favorite fragrances from the house of Argos, especially the floral fragrances for spring or summertime, red berry, rose. This is Pallas Athene. Guys, if you've not tried this and you've heard that it's a bit more of a feminine fragrance, in my opinion, that is definitely correct. That does not mean that you shouldn't try it or at least wear it on skin. I get tons of compliments on this. Personally, I love it. Got some sandalwood in there. I believe it's hyacinth and some other types of florals. But for me, the red berry and the rose really just do it for me. I think for Pallas Athene, it's just a very elegant smelling fragrance is the best way to put it. It's seamless. It's smooth. It doesn't feel forced. It's not overly floral. It's not too sweet. In my opinion, it is just an absolute beautiful, beautiful fragrance from the house of Argos. So don't shy away from it if you're a guy. Get a sample, see how it goes on your skins, because you will get compliments. And because that fragrance is so strong and it kind of goes into a somewhat similar category, just with the rose type of florals, but a completely different fragrance on Wednesday. This is Dasman from Boadicea the Victorious. Rose, oud, saffron. Incredible. I could probably talk about this fragrance for 10 minutes. That's all you need to know. Rose, oud, saffron. It is incredible. It's a little heavier on the oud than I was kind of expecting, especially on my skin personally. Very kind of jammy rose, but again, it doesn't smell like unnatural or too sweet or overly jammy. Just absolutely gorgeous fragrance. One of the best from the entire house in that rose and oud category. Alseif is incredible as well. That's a little bit more fruity, less rose and oud in my opinion. A little bit more wearable for warmer weather. But if you've not tried Dasman and you enjoy rose and oud fragrances, got to get on it. Now, Amber Oud from the house of Roja Parfums. Sweet, spicy oud, amber. I think this got fig in here. It almost smells like it's like a honeyed type of fig. There is a very understated and natural sweetness in this that I absolutely adore. One of those fragrances, it's great when you first spray it on. It's great in the mid notes and the transition. It's great in the dry down. And it's one of those fragrances, as good as the opening is, and as good as it is, at least to my nose, when I first tried it and first smelled it, it's something that just continues to grow on me. Certainly one of the best from the house, in my opinion. I got a couple more on order. I was actually able to secure a bottle of the Sultan of Oman, and I already have the Arab Emirates one from their golf collection, which is another great one if you've not checked it out. They got some absolute hitters in that Roja Parfums golf collection. Now, speaking of hitters, Bond number 9 Dubai series. It's one of those. Some of the fragrances are definitely more polarizing. I would say emerald and black sapphire and amber are right in that category, but I've really grown to love Dubai Emerald. Floral up top, definitely got some oud in there. Not strong, more of a wearable oud. Definitely not as strong as something like in Dasman. But I get a lot of compliments on emerald. It's also got, I believe, cypriol and leather in there. So it's got a very green, floral, resinous, and dense base. Definitely try this before you buy it. It's not going to be for everyone, but I personally love it, and I get a lot of compliments on it. And still for me, slightly confusing, like with the florals. It's very strong, and with the florals, you think maybe summer or springtime. But it's also dense, so for me, I mean, this is kind of, as it sits right now, as I've worn it, it kind of sits as an all year round fragrance. Goes good in, hot situations, but it's definitely strong enough and appropriate where it doesn't fade away in the cooler weather. So, Charon's Vail, depending on how you want to say it. Beautiful rose, saffron, not too floral, very resiny. The saffron note in here is one of the most quality saffron notes I've smelled in any fragrance. It is very warming, resinous, spicy. Don't get scared away if you see the florals in here because it's not as floral as I was expecting. And same with the oud. The oud is prevalent, but it's a very clean, wearable oud. It's not something like an oud that's in Dasman or Alseif. It's definitely more of an oud that I would say maybe similar to like Xerjoff Alexandria 2 or Boadicea, Amouage. Definitely more of a wearable, clean oud. Knocked that out of the park with Charon's Vail. Another one that I get a lot of compliments on. Lasts a very long time and develops extremely well. So now from Amouage, this is on Sunday here, last of the first week. This is Wood Symphony. And now people who know about this fragrance know about it because it is very good. Very polarizing, dense. It's got rum, orris concrete, so very heavy like root and orris extracts in here. Very earthy without being bitter or harsh. Just a very, very good job of blending some ingredients that you wouldn't necessarily think would go together well, or maybe that would be difficult going together. I think Amouage just did a very, very good job of blending this and pulling it off. Just an incredible fragrance that continues to grow on me. I won't say it's my favorite from the library series. If you guys seen my Amouage top 5 or top 10 video, definitely not one of my favorites, but it's continuing to grow on me, and it is a very well done fragrance for that category. Now, next Monday, second week starting here, Unique Luxury Istanbul. Toffee, neroli, citrus, tea notes. And of course, what people love probably most about this fragrance is you do have a very nice candied grape note to go along with that toffee, citrus, tea. Just a very good fragrance for any time of year. Stands up to cool weather with the resins and the slight gourmand aspect. You get some freshness and some playfulness with the citrus and the grape. That's definitely just an all-around, all year round type of fragrance for me. Now Tuesday, one of my favorites from the house, this is Hasu. Moss, grass, green notes. It's got an understated sweetness in there too. I think it's got like some black currant and some other type of fruit notes in there. Oak moss. Definitely a dense fragrance. I mean, this stuff, everything from the Zodiac series, especially from Boadicea in general, for me, has lasted an extremely long time, especially from the Zodiac and the Sapphire series. But the development and the way this lasts is a very special fragrance to me, and I know a lot of other people who feel that way. Biggest caveat with any Boadicea, especially the Zodiac series, they're extremely expensive. So maybe get a sample or a decant, find out if it is worth it to you. But that is one that I would definitely want in my collection. If it were to ever go out of stock and I didn't have that, I would regret it. So if you're in that position to maybe where you can afford something like that, or you've been planning on maybe buying a fragrance that's a little bit more expensive and you're wondering, is it worth it? I definitely would say Hasu is worth it. Now, Alseif, you guys know this is probably my favorite fragrance from the entire house, except for Aqua Sapphire. But there's just so many good ones from Boadicea. I feel like I say that about every single one of their fragrances. They really are so good. This is no longer made, though. And I do have a backup bottle of this. That's how much I like it. It kind of stinks to do that as a content creator and a reviewer because you are sacrificing buying some newer releases in your budget. But for me, as someone who's more into the hobby, just for collecting it and for my own personal enjoyment and to share it with you guys, I guess that's kind of good information because that is something for me personally that I found worth the $500-600 to get a backup bottle of this. Didn't want to be without it, knew it wasn't made anymore, and I definitely wanted it in my collection for my remaining years, however long that will be, and then my son can have it after that if I don't use both of them. Incredible fragrance, and he actually likes it as well, even though he's younger. I won't get into his age or anything like that, but he's at the point now where he can start enjoying that stuff, and it's really funny to kind of hear his perspective and his opinion on fragrances when he doesn't really know. I don't really share to him what these cost, other than they are all expensive. So he doesn't have any brand bias or stuff, but he really enjoys Alseif as well. Now on Thursday, Love Triumphs Over War from Argos. You guys already know the story on this if you follow my channel. Very powerful floral, fruity fragrance. You got some masculine base notes, some musk in there. I believe it may have vetiver, but I know it has, I think, a white musk in there. Cinnamon bark. This stuff is actually incredible. Again, as a guy, it's hard to kind of get into overly floral fragrances like that, so it was a little bit challenging. But if you watch my top complimented video on the House of Argos, this was actually my most complimented fragrance from Argos. Now, Neptune's Trident and a few others are kind of making a run at this for the house now in terms of most complimented, but every single time I wear Love Triumphs Over War, it does seem like I get a compliment from it. Florals do go very well on my skin, and again, as a guy, not overly into florals, even though I do find them beautiful. It is just one of those things, as you know, I'm more into the oud heavy, Middle Eastern, I would say, with the oud, rose, saffron, frankincense, resins. I really enjoy those types of fragrances most, and of course tobacco fragrances if you guys follow my channel. But there's room for everything, and especially spring or summertime. Love Triumphs Over War is fantastic. And Dubai Ruby on Friday is another excellent one. Very floral, more feminine. Definitely more for the women to check out, I would say, from the Bond No. 9 Dubai series. But I absolutely love this stuff. It is more situational. It's one of those fragrances, I discussed this in my previous video. A lot of the stuff from the Dubai series for Bond No. 9, it kind of leans more masculine. In fact, I would say most of them lean more masculine. So I can see why they made Ruby and probably Garnet and a couple other ones more for the women, more floral. This does have civet, myrrh, and I believe there's a couple other Middle Eastern base notes, but they're not as heavy as you would think. As a guy, of course, I would like to see those used in a little bit greater concentration to change the base of the fragrance, but again, a little bit more, you know, feminine offering for the women there. And the florals on this are just absolutely gorgeous. Longevity is better than I thought it was going to be. In fact, the first time I wore it, I kind of went a little bit nose deaf to it, and then like 6 hours later, I was like, man, this smells really good. What is that? And it was Ruby. It just changed to the point where I started kind of recognizing it again and wasn't really as nose deaf to it. So it does last a while, even though it is somewhat of a lighter fragrance. So we'll go ahead and put that back there. Saturday, Amouage Boundless tobacco fragrance. A little heavy for this time of year, but I was doing cigars on the porch, watching some playoff hockey. Anytime I'm doing cigars and having, you know, scotch or bourbon, for the most part, I am wearing a tobacco fragrance or a heavier type of fragrance. Food, cigars, and drinks, you do have to be somewhat careful about how you pair your fragrances with those, because they can affect your enjoyment of them. A lot of what you taste is because of your smell, and anyone who's ever been sick and their nose is congested and you try to eat some really good food and you can't taste it, that's part of it. And same with fragrances, so you kind of got to match what you're doing to the occasion. For me, I never have issues with tobacco fragrances or heavier resiny fragrances like that affecting the smell or the taste of my scotch, bourbon, or cigars. On the other hand, I have had some very floral and even in some cases some very marine fragrances negatively affect how I enjoyed cigars, bourbon, and scotch. So just keep that in mind when you're doing those types of pairings. Last but definitely not least, Mashumaro from Unique Luxury. This was on Sunday, last block of the week here. I mean, what is to say about this? It's sweet, marshmallow, milk, toffee. My favorite part about this fragrance, though, and I think I say this almost every video, is the musk, incense, and rose. It keeps it from being too one-dimensional and too gourmand, and that's probably my favorite thing about that fragrance. So it's great to see you guys again. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I got a lot more coming for the channel. See you soon.